You're watching Access Africa, the show that allows you to look into some of the biggest brands on the continent. I'm Prue Jinka, your guide to business in Africa. Want to know more? Stay with me. Tiger Brands is one of South Africa's largest food companies, a company that continues to grow across Africa, given both the challenges and opportunities of doing business on the continent. Nigeria poses just such a challenge and opportunity. In 2014, Nigeria's economy became the largest in Africa, worth more than $500 billion, and the term Giant of Africa was coined. Not only has it transformed into an economic giant, but its social and cultural textures are layered and rich in diversity. With approximately 174 million people, Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa, with over 500 ethnic groups. In 2010, Tiger Brands set up operations in Nigeria through the acquisition of Deli Foods and invested in UAC Foods of Nigeria plc. We talk to Peter Matlari, CEO of Tiger Brands Group. Peter, what was the primary reason for going into Nigeria?
If you look at Tiger's strategy, if we want to be the leading FMCG player on this continent, you cannot not be in Nigeria. So we spent a lot of time looking at businesses in Nigeria, various businesses. We've spoken, I suspect, to some of the, if not all of the leading FMCG players in Nigeria. We bought a small business called Deli Foods, a small biscuit business, as our first entry to get a feel for that market. We learned one or two things there. We then did a very great deal with a company called UAC, where we got 49% of their foods business. And again, great people, great company, great brands, and we believed we could grow that.
UAC of Nigeria was born out of an entrepreneurial spirit to merge and acquire various companies and restructure the group into a listed conglomerate. The company is part of Nigeria's social, consumer-based DNA, having been part of the economic landscape since 1879. Tiger Brands became a significant investor in UAC Foods of Nigeria in 2010. Another milestone in its quest to expand across Africa and to establish a strong presence in Nigeria, the largest market on the continent. This was achieved after the formalization of a strategic partnership between UAC of Nigeria and Tiger Brands Limited. With leading brands such as Gala Sausage Roll, Supreme Ice Cream, Snaps, Delight Fruit Juice, Swan Natural Spring Water, and so much more, UAC Foods has become part of the Nigerian consumer's daily lifestyle. Acting Managing Executive of UAC Foods Limited, Joan Ihekwaba, shares her insights with us on the highlights and challenges that UAC Foods has experienced. What is the overall strategic focus of the organization?
In recent times, UAC Foods Limited had made a lot of investments, and these investments have been targeted at expanding our capacity for manufacturing in order that we can serve our consumers better in terms of product availability, in terms of delivering better quality products, and of course improving on our market share. So strategically, we are focused on driving our assets, sweating the assets such that we can grow our volumes, our top line, and get the desired return on investments.
Joan, what would you say are the key strengths of the company?
UAC Foods, as part of the UAC group before, were known as a doing good company. I will start with our people. Our people make the difference. We have a crop of employees that are really motivated and committed in driving the vision of the company. Our union executives are very progressive, and they actually share in the vision of the company. So I would say number one, our people is key, one of our key strengths. Secondly, I would say our brands, particularly the core brands, Gala Sausage Roll, Supreme Ice Cream, and Swan. These were pioneer brands in their categories, and in spite of the stiff competition that we face, they are very resilient. Today, Gala is still number one after 53 years, in spite of the stiff competition we face. Thirdly, I will say the distribution network that we have. For our core brands, any part of the country, 36 states of the Federation, if you go, you will see our brands in all these places. So our distribution network and our customer base is quite strong. We also look at the fact that the UAC pedigree is working well for us. Usually when you go out there and you meet consumers and you say this product is from UAC, immediately they are interested. They want to know more about. So the UAC name opens doors for us as a business.
Tiger Brand's earliest partnership in Nigeria was with UAC. We speak to Larry Etta, the CEO of UAC, about how this partnership has worked. Larry, what are the key strategies for success in operating a business in Nigeria?
Well, I think Nigeria is a peculiar country. It's one where risk and opportunities abound, possibly in equal measures. So for you to succeed in this environment, it's good to have insight into the environment. That insight would be around the consumer space itself. And it's also very important that you also understand the challenges and constraints of the local operating environment. So out of that, you can then craft what is domestic relevant strategies around consumers, around branding, around talent, around going to the market, around affordability. Because although we are a nation of 170 million people, there's also a significantly high level of poverty. So you must be sure that your goods, for instance, are affordable. And also the frequency of purchase is quite higher than in other countries. So in terms of your pack sizes, it must be smaller pack sizes which people can buy more frequently. And also in terms of the price points, it's also very, very important. And also talent is also a big issue. So it's also important you understand that there's going to be a lot of training and retraining. And also it's a very competitive market. So differentiation is also important in terms of your brand alongside innovation.
What made Tiger Brands an attractive proposition for you?
We were very clear in our mind that at the time, maybe 2-3 years back, the competition we had faced up to that time was largely local competition. But into the future, the kind of competition we'll face will be either against global competitors or against global standards. And for us to survive and thrive as a business, it was important we seek out partners or alliances that would allow us to lift our game. And we saw Tiger as a first-class company, which clearly demonstrated those capacity to, and competence for us to work with and succeed. So I think clearly we were looking for a partner that would add value, a partner that would also appreciate that this is not a market which is exactly like every other market. So it was important that in that partnership a lot of learnings also be made in this space.
This partnership between UAC and Tiger Brands has performed well for both partners. Then, in 2012, Tiger Brands took a further step in expansion in Nigeria with the acquisition of majority shareholding in Dangote Flour Mills. What was the primary reason for acquiring Dangote Flour Mills?
Tiger had already, if you like, dipped its toe in the water with our other acquisitions, but was really looking for something that would give it significant scale on the continent outside of South Africa. There was a recognition, which has panned out, that the South African environment would be, and economy would be fairly moribund for a period of years, and that we needed something that would represent a growth engine and a significant growth engine. So it was really about buying something with scale.
And what were the challenges?
The big challenges for any South African company when you go into a new geography is getting under the skin of the country, getting to understand the consumer, getting to understand your workforce, getting to understand how business gets done there. And I think Nigeria is so radically different from any of the other countries that we've operated in. So, Kenya, Cameroon are quite close in terms of the way that business is done. And Nigeria is very different, and infrastructurally probably the biggest challenges that we've ever had to face. So simple things like power supply, gas pressures that one takes for granted in South Africa that you don't even think about. You have to drill down into the detail and understand how you're going to plan around those challenges.
Dangote Flour Mills has posed a financial challenge to Tiger Brands. Why do you think this is?
There were certain dynamics in terms of the industry in which we operate, both in terms of government increasing duties around the time that we made the acquisition. A lot of new capacity came on stream. That's meant that the categories in which we operate have become quite heavily overtraded, and that's given rise to some challenges in terms of profitability.
What do you think is the long-term value add for this relationship?
What it will give Tiger when we succeed in Nigeria is it will give us a confidence, and we will have developed the confidence to take on any challenges anywhere in the world. So for me, that's the key thing that we're going to get out of this. We will turn the business around over time. We will make money there, but it's about developing a little bit of a swagger that will take us into even more challenging territories.
Enter the Dangote Group, the largest industrial conglomerate in Nigeria and one of the largest in Africa. In 2012, Tiger Brands acquired a 63.5% stake in Dangote Flour Mills from Dangote Industries. The man behind the success is a Nigerian entrepreneur whom Forbes magazine has listed the 23rd richest person in the world and the richest man in Africa, Alhaji Aliko Dangote. What is the keys to business operating in Nigeria?
Well, the key to business success in Nigeria is actually, operating, first of all, by the rules, studying the market, looking at what you know best, because one of the biggest problems for entrepreneurs or for businessmen is actually getting into what you don't understand. It can actually kill business. You need to understand the business, you need to understand the environment, and you also need to understand the psyche of the people. There are some areas where it is a well-organized market, where yes, you give people credit, they pay you back, you monitor that. In Nigeria, yes, we do that, but unless you know the market, you'll end up losing quite a lot of money. So you need to monitor your customers. You need to know what they want. You need to know when to put pressure on them. You know, I mean, because they run around. In the food business that we're in, there are several other people who are in the same business. And with that, unless you keep track of them, you keep monitoring them, you keep massaging their ego and all this thing, you know, you are not really going to have it easy. But that could be managed if you do understand the market and also the system, how it operates. And that's why somebody who is very successful maybe in East Africa or Southern Africa does not mean that, yes, the person can come on his own and be successful. But if you study the market, you actually have a good team that they have good understanding of the market, you can easily be very, very successful.
What were your reasons in agreeing to sell Dangote flour mills to Tiger Brands?
Our main reason for agreeing to sell the Dangote flour mills to Tiger is because we believe Tiger, they are the right partners to start with in terms of FMCG. In terms of knowing the market, in terms of retail, we are very good in other things, but we're not very good in FMCG. At Tiger, they do understand that. They've been doing that for several decades. I think they're the right partnership. And we've seen quite a lot of other things that they are doing in South Africa, which really interest us so much. They are here. At the moment, luckily for us, the current managing director that they have, he's somebody who knows Nigeria very well. You know, that's Mr. Tabo, from his experience with Unilever and Co. And I think they will do a better job than what actually we have even done before, once we stabilize. The issue is we have quite a lot of huge businesses as Dangote that we're running. But when it comes to first mover consumer goods, I don't think when you count 10 companies, in the continent, Tiger will not be in the top 5. So that's the main reason why we go with Tiger, and they are committed. When there are issues, they rise up to these issues, discuss them. They don't shy away from their responsibilities. So this, this is the major reason why we actually partner with them, and we'll continue to support this partnership.
What are the main challenges that Tiger Brands and Dangote flour mills have to face in achieving profitable growth?
Well, what you have to face, because the market that we're in today is a very, very competitive market. There is a little bit of excess capacity. But with real, planning, putting the right team to market these goods, monitoring these same customers that I talked about, we'll be able to, have a good strategy. We already have a very good vision. Now we have set up the strategy to achieve the vision, to target our market share and also retain the market share. It's not going to be that easy. It's going to be another 2 years before we fly. But once we stabilize, we'll fly, to the next, level. And with the current team that we have in place, I have no doubt that we'll definitely, achieve this vision. The strategy is excellent. You can't have it better than that. We've done quite a lot of cost cutting. And that will help. We're not only looking at our market share here locally, we're even looking at, dominating part of the regional market by exporting. Because right now with the exchange rate, with what is happening in Nigeria, it will help us if we can also concentrate on export. And that's what we are working towards.
In a Business Day interview, Peter McClary said that the Dangote deal has forced executives to be more rigorous on other deals. He went on to say that Tiger Brands may have underestimated the complexities in running a business the size of Dangote's in Nigeria. Tabo, you've been managing the business for over a year now. What have been the key issues that you've needed to focus on?
I think if we look at the Dangote flour mill, key issues that needs to be fixed in any FMCG business is product. We have to sort out the product quality, not only the quality of the product coming out of the factories, but the quality of the product as perceived by the consumer as they use it in their shops, and as they use it in their bakeries, as they use it in their kitchens. That's one of the key things. Second, that I have to focus on, if you look at the landscape of our assets, because if you look at our business, we have too many assets, we have to rationalize assets. You have seen out of the reports that we have impaired some of the assets to make sure that we streamline our assets and make them to sweat. Third key thing, as you can imagine, in West Africa is people. People. Making sure that not only people in terms of skills, but more importantly, people in terms of their attitudes, people in terms of their behavior, and the willingness to take the challenge. Nigeria is not a Mickey Mouse. They say Africa is not for sissies, but Nigeria is a different language. So it's about making sure that we have people with a mindset that is right to drive the businesses in Nigeria.
What are the opportunities that you see for profitable growth for Dangote flour mills?
The opportunities, as I've said, in Nigeria is huge. The country's got many problems. You've got economic problems, you've got infrastructure problems, you've got 85% of the populations are living below $2. But out of all those issues, I tell you for now, the rewards and the opportunities far outweighed the problems. By far outweighed the problems. The important strategy is to make sure that you make your product available at all price touch points. At all touch points. If they are the richer, make sure that you create a product which is premium enough for the rich to afford. You need to create a product which is affordable for the middle class. And of course, we need to make sure that we create a product which is affordable for those that needs small units. So it's important that you meet at all touch points.
Yet throughout the challenges in sustaining the business, the partnership between Tiger Brands and Aliko Dangote has grown. It comes down to modifying the business model to suit the market, understanding the shortcomings, and not repeating them. How do you market within this territory?
It's important that you get the consumer's trust in your brands, and your execution and go-to-market strategy has to be very, very tight. Nigeria is more than 90% informal trade, and so getting as close to your consumers as possible is a very key part of marketing successfully in this environment. Innovation is also very important in the way you execute from a communication perspective and also from a product proposition perspective.
Tox, what is the opportunity in partnering with local marketing agencies in Nigeria?
First of all, it's easier for you to execute a lot of your plans. They already have synergies with the local agencies, with legislation, and they have a deep understanding of the terrain and the people. So it's important to work with them because they would be able to help you in executing excellently.
What is the way forward with Dangote?
So, with our businesses in Nigeria, we continue to pull them together and to build on the platform that strategically we've identified. So, over time, I'm quite clear that we will continue to invest into new adjacencies that help us deliver on the strategy that we mapped out to our board. We have strong partners. We will work with our partners in doing that. But ultimately, the way forward has got to be one that says we realistically are going to deliver great shareholder value because the platform we are creating is a sustainable one.
Tiger Brands has tested the waters, and with its knowledge and experience in the West African market, it is now time to fully engage. There is truth in the proverb that says it is the first step that is difficult, but the show goes on. Thank you for watching Access Africa.